good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome and thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor, privilege, and pleasure to have you with us. I'm going to leave Mayumi in charge. She's the other Kim Serafini, if you can see. There's two of me who look like we're participants. Alrighty, so who do I see? Hi, Jordan. Hi, Katie. Hi, Leslie. Hello. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Terry. Hello. Hello. Come on out and maybe you can unmute yourself for a moment and just a quick hello and where you're calling from. We're going to do a few breakouts during these classes. They're going to be pretty informal, even though I look very formal and fabulous. And we're going to have some lighthearted fun. It's also going to be really substantial, significant, and serious for some of it. We are here together. Alrighty, so who wants to start? Jordan was actually the very first person to arrive. And Jordan, come on out and say hello. And where are you coming in from? And what value do you offer to the world? What's your greatest contribution? I don't know, just like 5 seconds of something fab.
Hi, my name is Jordan Gray. I live in Albany, Oregon, in the United States. And I think the most important thing I contribute to the world right now is a lot of love and joy.
I absolutely agree with you. And Jordan, in this moment, what are you most grateful for?
I am most grateful for this technology that I can join you in this meeting, even though you're 8,000 miles away from here.
Oh, I do love that. And tell me, what is it about yourself that you love? And what is it about Positive Prime that you love?
Oh, well, let me start with Positive Prime. What I love about it is that every time I use it, I end up feeling better. Even when I come into a session feeling happy, I leave even with, a bigger grin on my face or more pep in my step. So Positive Prime speaks to me on the deepest levels because of the scientific design you've put into it, all the neuroscience that's in there. And I forgot the first question.
What do you love most about yourself?
What do I love about myself? Well, I guess that I'm happy most of the time. I smile and I laugh a lot.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Jordan, you're a gem. Absolute gem. Jordan, you have no idea how precisely perfect what you said was about most important part of the first segment of this gathering. Are you ready for me to add the spotlight to you, Steve? I think so. You were born ready. Away you go. You heard it. Who are you? What do you contribute to the world? What are you grateful for? What do you love about Positive Prime?
Sure, there was a choice there, so here I am. Good morning, everyone. My name is Steve Plummer. I am, pardon me, I'm a writer, and I work with business owners around the country. What I love about Positive Prime, we've only been doing it for, I don't know, maybe a month now, but I really concur with what Jordan said. I don't know how or why, but I can understand the neuroscience behind it, but whenever it changes something in me. Whenever I use it, I feel better. I feel my vessel feels cleaner, more open, and it's become, well, I was going to say become part of my daily practice, but mostly part of my daily practice. I'm a human being that doesn't always get things perfect, but it's been I really enjoy it. And I live on the Sunshine Coast. I think I said that, about 45 minutes south of Kim. And what I love about myself, I think, was the third one, Kim, wasn't it? And that was, that's a really interesting question. I love being a dad. I've got 4 adult children. But I think what I love about me is my ability to do things and to, I guess, rise to the top of things. I don't want that to sound egotistical, but I've been a leader in education. I've been a leader in the marketing, copywriting space. So to do good things is one of the things I do love about myself. So I think I covered everything there, Kim, did I?
You did indeed. You know what, Steve? You, like Jordan, absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing. I'm going to remove the spotlight now.
Okay,
And back to me. We've got a couple of people who are joining us just for the first part of this meeting. And you've already gathered that the meeting's going to be a little bit different. I really want for all of us to get to know each other a little better and support each other a little better, if that's possible. And I think that we're going to be able to do that with greater ease and speed and joy in breakout groups. But I just wanted to let everybody know that there are new people in our community, and there will be an increasing number of new people in our community. You just heard from one. But today I have really extraordinary news. I mean, I really have extraordinary news. And I'm going to actually do a little bit of a screen share and see if it works, and hope that you can see the most important bit. It says, "Hi, Kim. You are part of the inner circle. You are part of the people I consider valuable and those who will keep confidential and private that which we share amongst each other as the elite, as the positive prime ambassadors, as the practitioners who are going out there and sharing positive prime." And it says, "We are excited to share our neurotech project integrating human affective states," that means positive emotions, "with artificial intelligence for hyper-personalized positive prime. Has been funded by the prestigious Australian Research Council." And if we were in America, it would say the National Science Foundation, the NSF. A linkage grant is a really amazing grant. This groundbreaking work, world-class, amazing, phenomenal, extraordinary, sensational work, aims to revolutionize personalized image generation to positively impact emotions with potential benefits in training, education, and beyond. Now, Dr. Avinash Singh is part of the Neuroadaptive Brain-Computer Interface Lab, that's BCI, and applied ML. ML is machine learning researcher in the School of Computer Science, in the Faculty of Engineering and IT at the University of Technology, Sydney. That's the equivalent of MIT. Alrighty, so do you want me to say that in layman's terms? Holy shit! I have not made this public. I wanted to share it with you first. Of course, I shared it with my parents and my husband and my brother. Of course, I did first. And then I shared it with a couple of people who are really a part of the group who hasn't ever given up on the power of positive prime and its potential. Some of you in this room were together exactly these dates 9 years ago in Los Angeles. Bruce Barnes, you're here, right? Patty Crummer, you're here. 9 years ago, we had already had Sean Acor, as in Sean and Michelle from Good Think Inc., and the authors of that incredible Happiness Advantage book, they'd already done some research because we'd already done the deal to have sessions inside the Science of Happiness course that Oprah Winfrey was putting together with Sean Acor that also included Ariana Huffington and Brené Brown and Kobe Bryant, rest his soul in peace. And you know what the most bizarre thing is? Sean was really focused on, out of the Fortune 500 or the FTSE Top 50, the FTSE as you would call it if you were based in London, or the ASX if you were based in Sydney, he was really focused on having me concentrate on ensuring Positive Prime was a tool that was used inside corporate environments, because he had the creme de la creme as the client list, including UBS, the Swiss bank, and I could go on and on and on. And some of you actually got to see Michelle Gillen present 9 years ago, his wife, who had done a study on negative priming with Martin Seligman, one of the fathers of positive psychology, at the University of Pennsylvania. Now, for those of you who have been a part of this journey for a couple of years, you will understand how extraordinary this opportunity is and what it will do for Positive Prime. Because 9 years ago, we were effectively rejected because we hadn't had a fine academic institution prove Positive Prime's efficacy. Oh yes, we'd had Sean's Research Institute, or Sean and Michelle's. We had a wonderful, encouraging statement. I had gone to several universities in Australia and asked them to really help me put together what was necessary to prove that Positive Prime actually does something. Even though Sean had done some really, quite powerful research and it had been really exciting, it wasn't enough. It took me years and years and years of imagining, manifesting, visualizing, feeling what it would feel like, and nothing prepared me for what happened last week. I was sitting at my desk and I received an email from Avinash, and it literally said, bear with me. Hi, Kim. I'm going to read from it. We made it! And we got funding from the Australian Research Council. I'll come back to you with some more details. Now, over a couple of hours on the telephone, Avinash and I talked about how the ARC is like category 1. It's the top tier. It's the hardest research grant to get. There are thousands of capable, qualified, beautiful human beings who are research scientists and those who work at fine academic institutions who are applying for an ARC grant. I would probably appear on the front page of our local newspaper if we'd have received, I don't know, $10,000 or $50,000, because that's a gift from the federal government that they invest in Positive Prime to further the research. But we got more than 10 times that. It is substantial. It is significant. It is serious. And as a consequence, squealing inside and also terrified of the responsibility, I raced up to Cameron in his shed, like men's sheds in Australia, right? And Cameron, guess what? Avinash and I got the ARC grant. I'm going to be the author of one of the most amazing pieces of scientific research over the next couple of years. So we essentially have to create a prototype within the next 2 to 3 years with a team. Now, let me explain the team. In Australia, it's relatively political to play these games. And so having really qualified, but also very well quoted, very high profile participants in the team And for us, there's an amazing man who did his PhD in psychological sciences at a university in Tel Aviv in Israel, where Cameron and I were a couple of years ago at the Global Wellness Summit. So I'm going to come to the Global Wellness Summit in a minute. This particular professor is actually the head of psychological sciences at another extremely high-profile university in Australia. It's actually the University of Newcastle, and there is a Newcastle in England. But anyway, Newcastle is a major city north of Sydney. And one of his amazing lecturers is this Dr. J of psychological sciences, and she is a part of the team. And so there's essentially Avinash and a few other very groovy, cool, super smart cats in that BCI lab in UTS, me, a couple of PhD students, and a couple of these people from the political science department who are all going to be creating a prototype. Now, what is that prototype and what does it mean for Positive Prime and for Positive Prime practitioners? Get ready. Because we applied to the ARC 2 years ago. This is always, it's going to make me cry. We were rejected. And I thought it was a nail in the coffin when I got that email last November. I thought, you know what? So much shit has hit the fan for Positive Prime and for Epic members in the last couple of months. I can't take any more. And so I spent a lot of time gardening, as you all know, and going out there, and I needed something to completely change my own vibration, my own frequency, and my own energy. And actually, Steve, I'm going to get you to talk about this because I think that you might be the only person on the call. I know that there's lots of other people, but not on this call, who've actually experienced it. And I invented what is holistic harmonic flow as a new treatment for the spa industry, in the same way I went about creating the spa industry's or the wellness industry's very first version of hot stone massage when I created the treatment that I branded lithos therapy. So I went back to my core and back to my roots and back to my practices and my habits. The person I am, was, and will be, the person who's so connected to the divine and to infinite intelligence and to source energy and to Mother Mary and to gods and goddesses, that Hindu Buddhist part of me, and to angels and archangels, the Seraphini that is Seraphonite. And I literally poured myself into what will help me to be in a state where I'm more in flow and I'm much more magical at manifesting and much more marvelous, and what I manifest is more magnificent. And I knew I had to get back to Bali. I knew I had to get back to running retreats because I needed to be in that energy, and I needed to be anchored into Mother Earth in a place like Bali, where for 5,000 years the Hindus have been giving thanks by offering blessings. Thank you to the goddess of the ocean. Thank you to the goddess of, thank you to the gods of, you get my drift, right? So I'm back in Bali and I go to the pyramids of Chi, and my friends created this incredible place that it's become a bit of a tourist attraction, a bit like a, I don't know, Disneyland, but really for wellness and for esoteric and alternative therapies and so forth. Anyway, I literally went back then. I tried their treatment again called light, sound, vibration, LSV. And then the crazy thing is that I went back to the actual scientists at the Sunshine Coast University Hospital, where I had my pacemaker implanted, and I'm thinking about being transhuman. And Dr. Avinash is a very powerful voice in the work that is transhumanism in the world. And I'm thinking about how my pacemaker knows when my heart has stopped, and we all know what, maybe we don't know. Maybe I could also remind you what kind of happened when my heart stopped. My heart literally flatlined. I paused, and thank goodness I came back. But I know that my consciousness, it continued. I didn't know that I had died. And so I re-examined that part of me, and then I started diving into vibroacoustic therapy, and I started designing a treatment table so that it would be this quantum physics play, and I could lie on it and I could actually have the most powerful, like, sound healing and vibration, but alignment of my frequencies so that miracles could occur. And Dr. Avinash has reapplied to the ARC so that we can create a prototype. I haven't even told you what the prototype is yet. Hang in there, just hang in there. But I'm lying on the treatment table and I'm thinking to myself, thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you for helping me to connect with the most fantastic, fabulous people who want to share the real power of Positive Prime and why it's so important to personalize and how incredible this tool is. And if only they really understood it. And I had Nadine in my ear. Kim, you know, you really need to relaunch the certification program. I know you haven't run it live for a couple of years. You've got to get back to running it live, classes that are live, right? And I'm thinking, who wants to come to Australia and do it in person? Oh no, we'll do it by Zoom, right? So anyway, miracles have occurred. Miracles have occurred. We've received the most beautiful contribution from a body. The ARC are scientists who've reviewed what we actually presented at the Society for Neuroscience in November 2 years ago in San Diego, where there were 20,000 people at that convention center. And then they reviewed our proposal and we were granted the cash. Now, I don't get any of it. UTS gets it, right? But it's for furthering Positive Prime because they believe it's important enough to advance Australian society. Oh, it's a big deal. And it's going to mean lots of other opportunities are going to come out of the woodwork. So, Steve, because you've actually had holistic harmonic flow as an experience, and you and I have never talked about what you actually went through on that treatment table, and indeed your wonderful wife also had the treatment. Just tell everybody a little bit, because I kind of want everybody who's involved in the Positive Prime world to also have their own treatment table so that they too can actually do their own treatments on themselves so that they can be in this magnificent, magical frequencies field so that they can have magic occur too.
Just to set it up so you understand what we're talking about here, it's I guess a queen single style, about that size bed, a water bed. So you're laying on a water mattress. Positive Prime is playing in the background at the very start of it to get you into, I guess, that alpha theta brain state. And you lay down on the table. Kim, you did some energy work at the start as well. I kind of think I resisted. My ego mind resisted at the start, just, you know, what's going on here, you know, just don't let go, it's not safe, you know, that kind of, I don't know if anyone else has experienced that in the ego mind, but I'm sure I did at the start. But I did. I went places. If you ask me exactly where, I haven't got a clue. I don't know. The interesting part of it, though, is to feel the vibrations in different parts of the body. I could feel the vibrations in my hands, in my different organs, in my legs, in my feet, and it's this most I don't know, blissful, angelic kind of state almost, that you're in for, what was it, 55 minutes, I think, or 66 minutes. You know, that is, yeah, 66 minutes, yeah. And I will say after it, I was really wiped out. I got no idea how we got home. It was safe. I was conscious driving home, but that night at home, you know, Jenny and I were talking. It was like, "How are you feeling, dear?" Well, and how, like, we were really spaced out as we were coming out of the treatment, and even the next day we were a little bit spacey as well. And it felt like a really deep, otherworldly experience, if that makes any sense. But yeah, the physical sensations of different parts of the body vibrating as the acoustic through the water sends different signals to the body was something that was really is a really beautiful experience. And obviously having the positive prime music and the energy healing as well at the same time, it was yeah, it was like I said, it was a beautiful experience. It really was. It was a very spiritual experience as well within the physical vessel.
I love that you.
Hard to
I love
describe
that
the
you.
indescribable.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so I put Steve on the spot there because he did not know I was going to ask him. In fact, neither did I. Lisa, it sounds like a flotation tank. Yeah, no, not at all. No.
I've done both, and no, yeah, you're right, Lisa. It's a lot better than a flotation tank. You know, the flotation tank for me it's just relaxing, whereas this is otherworldly, whatever that means, you know.
I love it. Okay, so what does that mean for everyone? It is more important than ever to understand the potency of a personalized positive prime session. Why? What's the prototype we're going to be developing? And what's your role? How can you contribute? The prototype we're creating is artificial intelligence driven. I want you to imagine in the not too distant future, pretty soon actually, people will be watching a personalized positive prime session and we will be measuring the signals in their brain waves, right? Now, imagine, like my pacemaker, if it detects that my heart has stopped, it paces me. It delivers a signal. It says, hey, S node, how about you listen to that communication and how about you start working again? I actually created the holistic harmonic flow treatment as part of my own therapy approach to totally, completely and utterly ensuring that I am back to perfection in terms of my nervous system and what's going on with my brain and the way it communicates with my heart and my lungs and my digestive system. And, you know, the autonomic nervous system disorder is a thing of the past. So imagine when we know which images keep you in flow. And we notice when you're out of it. And we have an AI-enabled delivery system, otherwise known as our platform, that then triggers you, stimulates you, provides you personalized images that keeps you positively primed. What's that going to do for the way children learn? What that's going to do for the way those of us who are dealing with dramas and challenges in terms of our ability to be resilient? What's that going to do for those of us who are really interested in creativity such that we can paint or we can produce music or we can have something appear on a canvas that is evolutionary, expansive, energetic? What's that going to do for people who really need profound healing? What's that going to do for people like me who just want to be able to manifest a cruise to Antarctica on a Silver Sea ship? Because that's going to make me really happy because I really love Silver Sea cruises, right? What's that going to mean for the people who are suffering anxiety? What's that going to mean for the change makers of this world so that they can sustain themselves on the journey that is making an extraordinary difference and contributing above and beyond themselves? What's it going to do? What's the role of Positive Prime in helping people to love the environment, love each other, love themselves? What's that going to do? And more than 9 years ago, when some of us met for the first time physically in person, I had imagined this. And so this is an invitation for you to continue to gather people to join our community, our positivity community, become Positive Prime subscribers, come and do the certification so they really understand the ins and the outs and the ups and the downs and the arounds and the rounds as to why the formula actually works and how the formula actually works and what is the formula, right? And be a part of a group of people who is going to do something that will literally serve humanity. It's simple. It's so simple and beautiful and affordable and accessible, and it's positive prime. But imagine an AI-enabled positive prime and the potential of a brain-computer interface the size of one strand of hair that might be implanted, a bit like a pacemaker. That's a radical. Pacemakers, trust me, are really big splinters inside your chest. You don't want one if you don't have to have one. I can guarantee you that. But now I want to dive in for a couple of hours every other couple of days with a group of people who want to be positive prime ambassadors and positive prime practitioners, positive prime leaders who are going to lead the way and who want to be totally up to date with what's coming out of the neurotechnology scene at the highest level through me, because I am in it. And so some of you might not consider or reconsider doing the positive prime certification because you've already done it in the past, and maybe you don't think you need a refresher. But I'll tell you what else is going to happen. So those of you who know, for the last couple of years, we have been trying to formulate a reality TV show with my friend Deborah Reed. And she's been so busy on Bachelor Golden. And when I rang her and I said, guess what, Deb? I now know why everything exploded and imploded and why we pressed pause this time last year. And I know why the Epic members who continued stayed and finished. And I now know what they're in for. And I now know what we can do. And she's like, whoa, 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 Kim, whoa, whoa, whoa. All right, seriously, can you now those of you who got to meet Deborah in Los Angeles last year know what's actually, it's nearly 2 years ago, isn't it? It was essentially February of last year. You know, she's really straight and direct. Kathleen, you remember meeting Deborah, right? Lisa, you remember meeting Deborah. So I'm on the phone with Deborah a lot over the last couple of days and weeks. We've been knowing something, the tides turn, something significant has changed. Is it my energy? Is it her energy? And how are we going to pivot? And what are the opportunities that are showing up? And she is a 100% yes to the Positive Prime documentary, a movie that talks about the power and the promise of positive priming and features stories of change makers who positively prime themselves and the value of positively priming themselves to their ability to actually overcome the challenges on the journey to creating incredible movements, whether that's the coral gardeners in French Tahiti, or that's, and it's all that's. And so we are deep back into, with Brett D. Scott and Patty Krummer, the sponsorship path, the work around having major sponsors attached to a movie that's about positive priming. And the movie about positive priming featuring some of the people who've already said yes, some of the people we've already filmed. And the movie's a little bit like The Secret. And I may have recently connected with Rhonda Byrne. And I really want for everybody here to go back a step or two in order to leap forward and be inspired with us. So absolutely reread Sean Acor's The Happiness Advantage. Absolutely think about going and revisiting Rhonda Byrne's team, the Secret team, have actually done a remake of The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles. She did 2 incredible classes, one was 2 weeks ago and one was a month ago. And I would recommend that you go back and you watch that. And lean forward, listen in, because I want a really active, growing group of Positive Prime leaders to be out there presenting Positive Prime. And I'm going to tell you one little last story. So Deborah's in Santa Barbara at the moment with some other people who are going to be involved in the project. And so she can't be here with us today, but she will be here with us in a Zoom in another couple of days. We talked about how I watched the movie The Secret. And I had never seen or heard of Marcy Shimoff, but Marcy was actually featured in the film. She's one of the teachers. Most people had never even heard of Marcy Shimoff or didn't know her. They had heard of Chicken Soup for the Women's Soul, which had sold tens of millions of copies. And I reached out to Marcy after I figured out who she was. But the reason why I figured out who she was because I'm a curious human, and I paused the movie and I saw, oh, these are some of the speakers, and I'd not really known of Mike Dooley, Notes of the Universe. I'd not really known of Jack Canfield. Someone had given me Chicken Soup for the Soul, but I'd never actually physically read it. And anyway, I reached out to Marcy and I said, I absolutely love what you've just created. So Marcy was smart enough that she knew as The Secret had been launched, she'd prepared a book that she'd launched kind of at the same time. There was this synchronicity and serendipity, and there was this simultaneous timing. And Happy for No Reason came out. And I read Happy for No Reason because I purchased it. Because when I saw her in The Secret, I Googled who's Marcy Shimoff. And so I actually went to her website and I bought her book, Happy for No Reason. And after I had read her book, I reached out to her. I sent her an email and I said, hi, my name's Kim Serafini, and I've written a book called I Am Grateful, and it's a bestseller. I've also created a treatment, and it's in the spa industry, and it's called lithos therapy, but it's actually spread like wildfire, and it's now called hot stone massage. And I would really like to talk to you about what you think about gratitude. And she is the person who led me to Paul Shealy. I asked her to introduce me to Paul Shealy because I knew that they knew each other because they were both part of the Transformational Leadership Council. Paul Shealy was not in The Secret. He had been filmed though. He was at the Transformational Leadership Council meeting. He had been filmed by Rhonda and her team when they were filming all the other people that were at that meeting, including Jack Canfield. And so what actually happened was Marcy introduced me to Paul Shealy via email. Hey, I'd really love you to meet this young Australian. Yeah, because like this is more than 15 years ago. And I flew to Minneapolis and I stayed with Paul Shealy. And Paul Shealy, for 30 years, had been working in the human potential movement, because that's effectively what that movement was called. Personal development, self-improvement, human potential movement. But you know what I knew it as? And this is going to be very important for the framing of Positive Prime. Change management. When we want something more or different, we have to change. And it's the art and science of change that is integrated into Positive Prime, so that change is more efficient, more effective. It's more elegant. It's emotionally evocative in terms of the experience. It's easier. I actually set about creating something that helped people like me and everyone else I knew to change with ease and grace and speed. That's what Positive Prime does. It enables change. It facilitates change such that it's easier, it's more graceful, it's more elegant, it's faster, it's more rapid, it's more simple. But you've got to understand how and why humans don't change, or why they believe that change is really hard. Oh, it's really hard to change. BS, it's hard. It's actually not, right? And that is what the Positive Prime certification is all about. So anyway, Deborah and I are creating a documentary that's about changing in an elegant way so that we all love each other and ourselves a lot more, and much more particularly our lives. So we love our lives and we love our personal passion projects, and we become the change makers we were born to be. The world has such huge issues. It needs us to be positively primed so that we can actually address all of those challenges and harness the opportunities and leverage the resources, the circumstances, and the situations. And can we be the creators, or as Rhonda and some of the teachers in The Secret call, can we be the manifestors, right? Yes, we can. And it's our time. And I believe the tide's turned also for Positive Prime. And I believe that the company is going to be worth a fortune in 5 years' time in neurotechnology. Now, do you want to sit on the edge of your seats and listen to the next tiny little bit? I said to Dr. Avinash, he's the cutest, most gentle, kindest little super genius, smart Indian man at the University of Technology, Sydney. And he's sweet to talk to. And I said, so Avinash, what else has been going on? And he said, oh, Kim, you might want to know, I've been appointed by the United Nations to write a paper on the impact and the effects of neurotechnology on children. Oh, Avinash, did they appoint lots of other people or just you? Right? Is he really that rare? Yes, he's really that rare. He's that precious. And he's part of our research team. And the government thinks that we are worthy and deserving of hundreds of thousands of dollars so that we apply ourselves to research and the brain-computer interface. Right? It is. Don't you think it's outstanding? It's outstanding, isn't it? So, some of you are going to continue, stay, and actually learn a lot more about how and why does a Positive Prime session that's personalized actually work, right? And we've got a new ebook, and the ebook is a draft, and we're going to provide it to all of you, and you can go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And if you see something like Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's name, and you do not know who she is, I'm going to encourage you, suggest to you, recommend, and ask for you to go Google her and find out a little bit more, because her broaden and build theory is fundamental to Positive Prime sessions. And I want you to be able to position yourselves as the teachers in The Secret did, as global experts in the law of attraction. And you're going to be global experts in positive priming. And positive priming is a really well-respected and admired area of science. And we're combining it with spirituality, right? It's symbiotic. I am who I am, the energy healing earth angel, seraphonite wearing Seraphini. I could not have come up with the formula were I not connected to the divine. So thank you very much for listening in for the last 45 minutes. We're going to get to know each other. We're going to ensure that you too have the capacity and the practice to not only personalize your positive prime sessions, but to go out there and teach what is positive priming. Why is it so powerful? Why is it so important? What makes it substantial? What makes it so special? We should protect it. Now, a few people have even asked, will you provide me with the paperwork that you use for the application? Yeah, no, that's confidential. Like there's some pretty clever IP involved, right? But what you will be is the closest to getting it the minute we actually make it available publicly, right? So the next 2 to 3 years is a journey. The world does dearly need this. Thank you, Kathleen. The world needs us. The world needs us to be positively primed, and it needs us to go out there and share positive prime. And positive prime, I do want you to know, the research was done on a positive prime session. It doesn't matter about the packaging of positive prime. It doesn't matter how it looks and feels, what website it's either in or it isn't. Right? Is it an app? Is it not an app? Like, physically watching a positive prime session, we're pretty sure within the next 5 to 10 to 15 years will have been proven as one of those interventions that psychologists and cognitive neuroscientists will use in clinical situations. We have to prove that, though, and that's going to take a lot more, many more grants and a lot more money attached to those grants and a lot more collaboration with international universities, but it is going to happen because I've already visualized it, because I've already started the manifestation, and I would really love it for those of you who I can trust and who can be relied upon to be a part of the journey. Right, so the Positive Prime movie, let's call it the Positive Prime movie, will feature positive prime practitioners who are out there shouting the loudest and spreading positive prime the furthest and the farthest, either as paid affiliates and or simply because you're driving an enormous amount of traffic. We need a lot more positive prime subscriptions coming in the door through a lot more positive prime practitioners who do it justice, right? We are going to be reaching out to sponsors. Now, I want you to imagine the story is about what does it take to be positively primed and what are the results of being positively primed. And therefore, the kinds of sponsors could be as simple as the manufacture of far infrared saunas. Far infrared saunas have been scientifically proven in terms of the way that they actually bolster wellness, and in some cases there's actually some pretty serious numbers around how it reduces risk for strokes. So it seems to me that a manufacturer of a far infrared sauna is the kind of sponsor we want attached to this movie project, and Deborah is an expert at figuring out how you have the subtle product placements and the story integrate the sponsors. I have recently been asked to appear in a couple of movies, and in fact, Dana Wild, some of you know Dana, introduced me to the people or the team who was putting in place those who would be featured in a film that involved Joe Vitale. I don't know if you know him from The Secret. She had appeared in another film. What you need to know about these documentaries, and because you're on the inside, you get to know this because we're going to be sharing the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And I think you know that about me. I'm really super upfront, sincere, and genuine. For one of those movies, a bit like a compilation book, you pay for the privilege, you pay for the opportunity. And they start at about $25,000. And what happens is the team films you and you say some really important, pieces that can be used as sound bites, and you're integrated in the editing. And if you pay $50,000, you actually get more of you inside the film. And a bit like what happened, someone like Kim Serafini in the future is going to see you and reach out to you just the same way I did Marcy Shimoff. And I would not be here today if I hadn't have gone and stayed with Paul Shealy. I knew he had been instrumental as a mentor to people like Brian Tracy and Bob Proctor and so forth. And Paul said to me, Kim, in my 30 years in this human potential industry, I have never seen anything like Positive Prime. I really think that you should develop it as far as it can go. Now, I had been staying with Paul for a couple of days. He had actually been a little bit like an interrogation specialist, trying to figure out, had I stolen all of the component pieces that made up a positive prime session? Was I really smart enough to have come up with positive priming as a tool? And at the end of it, he wholeheartedly encouraged me and supported me in the development of what has become Positive Prime. And of course, if Paul's available and he wants to continue working and he wants people to reach out to him, we'll have him in the Positive Prime movie. But I want you to think about the people that you know who want to be in the film. And we did have an EPIC program, and we are doing EPIC 2.0. So the people who were in the original EPIC program, you're all perfectly positioned. You're all okay. There are some people who are in the EPIC program who did not finish the EPIC program, and they might want to come back and finish it, be a part of this mastermind that actually is really about bolstering Positive Prime so that you get a share in the revenues from the Positive Prime subscriptions and the Positive Prime certification, the revenue share over and above break even. And we had a whole heap of spots where people basically removed themselves from the EPIC program. And so those spots are now available to be filled. And so there will be a lot of people who really want to receive the revenue share once the film comes out and the traffic goes to Positive Prime. If you've been listening to some of the things that I've been saying with some of the people who have said that they will help us or be involved, I do want you to imagine millions of people coming to Positive Prime and knowing about Positive Prime and knowing about you if you're in the film. And so many people have just recently been much more excited because Deborah is available. So she has not at all been available for the last year while she's been doing Golden, and she's available, right? So what is the first and most fundamental thing for us to do? What do you think? Who is so grateful they completed the EPIC program and they get to stay in? Now, it might mean you don't see the rich rewards and the benefits as you might want to see them for another 2 to 3 years. But our intention is to do the red carpet launch for the movie within 2 years. Now, I don't know if most of you know that 11/11, like 11, I was born on the 11th of March. And 11/11 is one of those portals. And today in Australia, it is 11 November, right? It's 11/11. And so we will probably be adhering to some of the esoteric rules around how we launch it as well. So Michael Seapape, yes, Michael Seapape. I have literally been on the field of frequencies, otherwise known as my treatment table, having the holistic harmonic flow treatment and thinking about you appearing in the movie. So Michael, I can't wait for the world to hear about hypnotherapy from your perspective and for people to go Google Michael Seapape. I know. Lisa Barnett, of course, we know you're there too. Can't wait. Can't wait, can't wait, can't wait, can't wait. I'm so excited. Now, we all know if we are Positive Prime practitioners that can't wait can't be part of our language. Do we all know why? Because it's about self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So I'm so excited, because if I say to the universe, can't wait, what do you reckon the universe is going to do? Get me to freaking wait. Ah! No. So excited, so excited, so excited. It's happening so quickly. It's happening so effortlessly. It's happening. Oh, I don't like the word effort. It's happening so easily. It's happening so easily. It's happening so easily. Do you know surrendering and letting go is really an important lesson for all of you? Once Avinash and I had reapplied to the ARC, the Australian Research Council, for this grant, we knew it was just such a huge ask. And we knew that a category 1 grant of that magnitude was like possible only in the world of miracles. So we just surrendered and let go. If it's in the best interests of the higher selves of all the people who are involved, and if it is actually good for humanity, it will occur. It will transpire. So whatever the resources were, the people, the circumstances, the situation that needed to be transmuted for us to get that award, it happened. It happened. And it's exactly the energy that I am in, and I'm going to hope that I can help you all to be in. So this becomes one of those stories that blows people's minds. And just as we tell stories about what happened for Rhonda Byrne and the secret team and what happened for that movement, we will be telling a story that's that or even better. That or even better. So Mayumi, for everyone who's here, can you please put in the links to Rhonda Byrne's class about ask and Rhonda Byrne's class about believe and receive? That would be super cool. Who wants to come out and say something? I'd really like to open it up at this stage before I dive into the very first meaty part of the lesson about positive prime.
So Kim, I just want to say that I think this is so exciting and so wonderful, and I am so glad to be a part of it. And I just hope for everyone that in the highest benefit for everyone, that the divine energy works with us and through us for the good of all concerned. So.
Love it. Thank you, Nadine. Do you know, for those of you who don't know, Nadine had introduced me to a networking group in Canada where I presented Positive Prime. And she'd actually gone out of her way above and beyond to create that opportunity. And so Nadine was part of the very few people I may have told over the weekend about the ARC grant. And I said to Nadine, you're going to be in this movie, right? And people are going to Google your name. And then they're going to see PEP. And then they're going to want to do that test. So whatever we need to do within the next year or two to make sure that your software is fully developed and it is available and it is affordable and it is like the thing that people want to do because of the way that we positioned you in this movie, that's what's got to happen. How excited are you, Nadine?
I'm very excited, Kim, and I am so supportive of everything that's going on. And I know that the documentary is going to be great. I already can see that happening. And I know that the research is going to actually come back with all the positive things we want it to come back with. I already know that it works with people who are anxious or depressed. I already know it works with people who haven't been able to sleep and use positive prime and are able to sleep. So I already know those things because I've used it with my own clients. I have a private practice. So
Nadine, why don't we take this opportunity for everybody here to get to know a little bit about you in your professional qualifications and what you really think about positive prime.
Okay, that's a big question. Well, I am basically I've been in the personal and professional development world for about 40 years. And I specialize in relationships of all kinds. I do a lot of couples work. I do a lot of group and teamwork. I also specialize in trauma. I've developed my own trauma therapy. As you said before, I also have developed the PEP personality process, which is a personality profiling tool. I wrote a book on it as well. So professionally, I've been at this a long time. I'm a continuous learner and I've never stopped learning. I continuously do training. So I have a lot of different certifications in a lot of different areas. So I have a very holistic approach when it comes to therapy. I actually design the therapy around the client. I don't have a set methodology that people have to adhere to. In terms of Positive Prime, I use Positive Prime with my clients whenever I can. I think that it's a wonderful tool to help them stay on track. I think it's a wonderful tool to help them heal the things that they need to heal. So it's another modality that I include in my practice. I certainly have also got my husband doing it. My husband was diagnosed with a tumor in his pancreas 3 years ago. He's still healthy and never missed a day's work, just for the record, and uses Positive Prime to help him keep on track.
I think that is enough. What I love is that Nadine is also on this journey and is like all the rest of us, figuring out how we attract an audience, how we refine what it is that we do, how we stay true to the core of our humanity. When she teaches people and they do the certification in NLP with her, or she teaches people and they do the certification in PEP, I know that, you know, therapists and healers and coaches and consultants and people like us, they really benefit from what Nadine does. And she is really worthy and deserving of the whole world knowing her and her being as famous as, now I hate to say this, but it kind of is the easiest way for me to think about it, a Jack Canfield, a Marcy Shimoff, and the other people who nobody had ever even heard of before The Secret. So the movie Positive Prime, I do know that what we're actually going to do is like positive priming for sports, positive priming for like change makers who are really committed to the environment and so forth. So there's going to be a few like sections of the documentary so that we could actually also then re-edit it into a docu-series and have it emerge as more. Positive priming works, and I've been lucky enough to see it work for others as well. So this is the important thing. It worked in my life. I created it for me. I then used it with my clients and it worked in their lives. I then shared it with a few people. Sonia Ricotti was actually one of the first people who I got to know, funnily enough, in Canada, because I was writing another I Am Grateful book, and I was where Nadine is from, Canada, and I was in Canada. Mind you, I was on the other side. I was in Toronto, right? So the funny thing is that I got to meet the whole Hay House crew because I was invited to Louise Hay's 80th birthday, and Wayne Dyer was there, and Debbie Ford was there, who was Ariel Ford's sister, and I got to meet these people because of Peggy McCole. And interestingly enough, Positive Prime sessions for Unsinkable were integrated into Sonia Ricotti's program, and this is more than 15 years ago. I said to Sonia, if you really want people to integrate your wisdom into their other than consciousness, you have to deliver the messages inside a Positive Prime session. Now, she did not know how or why that worked. I'm not even sure she believed me. But the research we've already done and what we've already presented at the Society for Neuroscience actually means that that was the truth. It is the truth. How does it do that, though? How is it that I can be here with you and say, if your message is important, if you're telling a client, or you're sharing with a client, or you're recommending, or you're advising, or you're asking a question of a client, and you want that client to actually respond with the whole of themselves, their super consciousness, their subconsciousness, their other than consciousness, and their consciousness, they need to be in a positively primed state. What is that state? That state is a state of flow. It's synchronization of alpha and theta with bursts of gamma. That's what it is. It's not beta. You can't have your clients or your patients or your students in high beta. That's a stressed state. The brain doesn't work like that. So here's what I need you to take away from today's class. Anything that you want to change changes much more easily when you are in a positively primed state. Sean Akel calls it having the happiness advantage. Just because you know that you should be happier and you know how to be happier doesn't mean that you'll actually apply it. And that's the marvel of Positive Prime. Positive Prime actually puts you into that flow state simply by you seeing the range of images, and they're not just any images. Simply by you seeing your name, and simply by you seeing the words that you see in the way that they're phrased. It does it to you. You don't have to be the kind of person who has the most perfect technique. Right? There are so many interventions out there that could help you to change, but you need a precise technique. You don't need a precise technique. All you need to do is press play. If it is going in front of your eyes, it is working. Why? Because the images are processed through the retina in your eyes. And the message from your eyes, what you've processed, goes to your mirror neurons. And your mirror neurons are in your brain. Well, you'll learn more about mirror neurons. And the mirror neurons make your brain think you're in a positively emotional state, even if you are not. And because your brain thinks you're in a positive emotional state, it sends messages to your body, your endocrine system, and you start to produce different hormones, and you get the creation of more neurotransmitters, which actually makes your brain work a whole heap better in the areas you want your brain to be working in. The areas of your brain that are responsible for super sharp thinking, problem solving, analyzing information without you being in a stress state, with you being calm and serene. It's called the broaden and build theory applied. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson, in her lab at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, Barbara Fredrickson had humans in functional MRI machines, and she stimulated them, showed them movies, images, little clips. We call them reels. There was no such thing invented when Barbara Fredrickson was doing this research, by the way. YouTube had not been invented. Neither had reels and the little clips you see on TikTok. I need you to understand that, right? So she's humans in functional MRI machines. If you do not know what a functional MRI machine is, go look it up. So Barbara Fredrickson has people there, and she is showing them certain types of images. And she shows them Duchenne smiles. No, they're sincere smiles. They're genuine smiles. They're loving smiles. They're smiles that the other person knows is real. And so in Positive Prime sessions, there are lots of smiles, and we're so careful. I say to Mayumi, and she, of course, works with her team, when we're analyzing all of the photographs that go into a session, if I feel like it's fake, like it was staged, that the actors weren't actually smiling. Now, some of the stock images, the actors are actually smiling. Your spidey, tingly, your knowingness, it knows. And here's the remarkable thing. When you see that, your brain thinks you're experiencing a positive emotion. And the neurotransmitters, they start flooding. And so your brain works differently. And if you were a doctor and I gave you a case study and you'd been positively primed, you're more likely to come up with an accurate diagnosis faster. That's been scientifically proven. That's in Sean's book, by the way. The experiments happened at Kaiser Permanente hospitals in Florida. I want you to know that. I want you to be able to recite that. I want you to be able to repeat that. I want you to be able to say that, right? Yes, go read Sean's Happiness Advantage book. So what's interesting is that I understand the broaden and build theory. But not only do I understand it, I'm the kind of annoying human who thinks about, and so what? What do you do with that knowledge? How do you apply it? But how do you make sure that you provide something to others so that they can benefit from it and take advantage of it? Ah, positive pride, right? So my intention is to help myself be who I want to be. My intention is to help myself do what it is that will really help me in terms of achieving the goals that I want to achieve. Having the marriage, at that time, the relationship. It was all about, what about me needed to change? Now, I understood quite a lot about change management. I actually understood that when people get some alarming news that they actually don't really want, they go through a cycle, and one of that's the first reaction's disbelief. They just don't believe it. And slowly but surely, their brain goes and gathers evidence to test whether it should be believed, because that's the way the brain works. The brain goes and gathers evidence. And then after disbelief, there's usually anger. No one wants to accept it. And change management consultants in corporate world, what they are all obsessed with is, how do you shorten the curve and how do you make the curve less steep? So people who are really shocked by terrible news, mergers and acquisitions, their job's going to change, whatever, what actually happens is they go down and they're much more intense about their disbelief, and it's much harder to shift. And they actually go down and they're much angrier and they become completely disruptive in the workplace, let alone like unproductive. And then they don't come up out of the curve, right? And all of these change management consultants are all like, how do we get employees up out of the curve sooner, faster, quicker? And there's all sorts of techniques and activities, and that's what I was paid to do as a change management consultant in the corporate world. Make sure that with senior executives, if you have senior executives who are being dysfunctional, that costs the company quite a lot. And in some states, that can actually lead to really significant mistakes that don't just cost money, they cost time and energy and reputation. The reputational risk is actually pretty severe in some of these intense change management situations where there's these corporate mergers and acquisitions going on. But even as I was doing this work, I'd never even heard of Dr. Barbara Fredrickson and didn't understand that there was such a thing as the broaden and build theory. And I hadn't even thought through, but how do you apply that? Well, you put images in front of people of Duchenne smiles. That's number one. Right. So we're going to give you the Positive Prime ebook. It's in draft. Let's call it our little guidebook or playbook or workbook. I like playbook. Mimi and I put the word playbook on it. We want you to understand much more about change management. Why is it so difficult for some people to change? What is it about our survival instinct? But I really want you to be able to share Positive Prime with others and say, one of the reasons why it works is because it applies Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory. And I want you to be able to tell people what the broaden and build theory suggests. And then I want you to know, how did we apply it? We integrated into each session the appropriate number of Duchenne smiles, because we know that the retina in your eyes processes them and sends messages to your mirror neurons. So Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory wasn't all I needed to know to come up with positive prime. I needed to know about mirror neurons as well. And then I actually also needed to know that there's this really strong positive emotional state, and it's called awe, A-W-E. And actually there are some other researchers at the University of California who are actually trying to figure out, how do you elicit awe in people, and how do you get people to feel awe when they're sitting at their desks and they're faced with some kind of shitty piece of work they've got to do to get out the door home to their families, right? Pretty hard, hey? How do you get someone like me, and for those of you who don't know, yeah, last week, in fact, it's Monday, last Monday, I was with my father in hospital. Was it last Monday? Okay, so I'm in the hospital, and it definitely looked like my dad's life was at risk. And it definitely looked like he was not going to make it. And I was not ready yet for him to die. And I'm at the hospital, and I'm doing energy healing on him. And it's really important that I do energy healing on him. And I'm wanting him to watch Positive Primes. He had a raging staph infection. So you can all go look up golden staph if you like, S-T-A-P-H. He'd had a knee replacement surgery. And in that surgery, for some reason, he ended up with a bacterial infection introduced during the surgery, highly likely. No one wants to actually admit it because no one wants to take any responsibility for it because there are insurance issues and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, it looked like he was going to lose his life. The bacteria definitely was winning. And it was spreading. And when it's really bad, it's tragic for your heart and for your brain and for your lungs and so forth. And positive priming is one of the reasons why I'm resilient enough to be the calm carer in those situations, drive safely the hours back and forth to get my mother to the hospital, and then be present when I'm with my dad doing that energy healing, and ensure I put a positive prime session in front of his eyes when he is in no position to be watching a positive prime session. But I took my laptop, I put that positive prime session on, and he watched it. What do I know about that? I know there was a change in his cytokines. How do I know that? Because of this amazing research that was done, that when people experience a state of awe, even for a very short period of time, it changes production of proteins that are responsible for your immune system functioning. That's a fact. Now, because I've spent decades in the spa industry, I'm really curious about how do you actually boost the immune system. Cytokine production is something that nobody had really even heard of prior to COVID. Cytokines were not a protein people had probably ever seen written out in print. And so someone like me says, okay, if it's really important to your well-being, how do we have normal human beings in average situations or in stressful situations boost their immune system? They need to experience awe. And the research has been done, and it has been proven there are several things that you can put in front of these people's eyes in a hospital. And one of them is that you can show them photographs, and 70% of the photograph is green tree canopy. They don't need to be in nature, particularly if, in this particular situation, my father literally could not be mobilized. He couldn't get out of a hospital bed. So I see all of these lovely ideas. Oh, go walking in nature. For somebody who desperately needs a change in their immune system, it is highly likely they can't freaking go for a walk in the woods. They're in hospital. They're hooked up to all sorts of machines. And so positive prime is something that works. And it's not that going for a walk in the woods doesn't work. It's that you need something that's an and. And the message I want you to go and really resonate with over the next 24, 48 hours before we gather again, in another couple of days, again at 9 a.m. my time, so it'll be Wednesday my time, is positive prime is not the only thing that positively primes people. It just happens to be something that works rapidly inside 3 minutes, that has an effect that lasts up to 8 hours, that is affordable. It's not like you're going to a psychologist's office 10 times and paying $150 each time. Yeah, no. Right? I'm not saying don't go to the psychologist for those 10 sessions. I'm saying it's an and. I'm not saying don't go and do the submerging yourself in freezing water. I believe in that cryotherapy. I believe in contrast therapy, right? I actually had a cold shower this morning, right? I'm not saying don't eat nutritionally organic, beautiful, live, plant-based diets. It all is part of positively priming yourself, because in this day and age, with the amount of toxicity from social media or all the media, the amount of toxicity from conversations that we have, the upset in our families, whether it's a recent political situation, it is Monday, the 11th of November in 2024, for those of you who might be watching this recording. So there was a pretty significant election a couple of days ago in the US. There's so much toxicity. It's not just about the wars that are being waged. It's about the wars that we wage internally. Why aren't I good enough? Why don't I have enough money? Why haven't I saved enough money? Why don't I have enough money saved, invested? Or why am I mean to my spouse? Why aren't I more compassionate with my family member? We wage a war with ourselves. And so positive prime is really an opportunity and a self-love ritual. That's what it is. It's an opportunity and a self-love ritual. And our movie is basically going to present that idea to the world. We positively prime ourselves as an act of self-love because we want to give ourselves the best chance. The best chance to be who we want to be, who we need to be, who we could be. That's how we realize our human potential, right? It's so beautiful. And the next couple of years is going to be a real thrill. And we're going to spend a whole class on gratitude, because one of the cores of positive prime is that it's an activity that really is like gratitude journaling, but brought to life in images, because we think in pictures. There's so much to go into. There's so much to cover. But if you are one of our brand new participants in the Positive Prime certification, know that Mayumi absolutely will be sending you the draft Positive Prime ebook. Feel free to start going through it. If you've already done our certification and you want the refresher, email Mayumi and let her know, so she knows to send you the ebook, and she also knows to invite you to the next class. Alrighty. I've done a lot of speaking in an hour and a half, and you've done a lot of listening and a lot of being patient and gracious. So thank you. Who wants to say something? Who wants to add something? Who wants to tell a story about what's happened in their lives because of positive priming? Anybody we haven't heard from yet?
I have a question first, if you don't mind. The question is, I just heard you say we think in pictures, and yet I am a very auditory focused person. Does that still apply to me? I do think in pictures?
Yeah, it absolutely does, Jordan. Awesome question. Thank you for asking. Absolutely. So every single human on planet Earth has a mix and a balance of auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Sometimes we have a dominant, but I want you to know you do think in pictures. And that's actually for an evolutionary reason. when we could see threats advancing towards us on the plains, right, caveman days, we didn't know that they were threats. They were just something advancing. And we saw them before we heard them. And so the pathways for pre-conscious processing are way more powerful visually. Now, that's not to say that sound healing isn't as important as visual healing, but it's an and. Those of us, survival of the fittest, who survived those early predators were very quick at assessing, making a decision, and either making friends with the person who was about to kill us, fighting the person who was about to kill us, or the animal, or pretending we were dead, so they just kept walking on by. So that's like the freeze or the fall down, right? Now, there's been a movement in the HR circles and in the human potential circles and in the understanding humans and cognitive psychology, which is really thinking psychology and so forth. Like, do we learn more because we feel it, or we feel it, or do we learn more because we hear it, or do we learn more because we see it? And the reality is that it goes into your other than consciousness faster because of your eyes. And we've had people who are visually impaired do our certification, and we have visual cells that see or sense, that takes senses and turns them into images, thinking in pictures. People will tell me I'm not really somebody who, I can't really visualize, and there are a lot of people who can't really visualize, right? But there are so many resources devoted to the facts that we process differently when we see an orchestra, when we see musical theatre. It's not just about what we're hearing. And I would dare say you will have had somebody tell you you're auditory, and you will have believed it because they were in a position of authority, and there was a power differential, and you adopted it as part of your identity, and then you reinforced it. And we're going to go into that as well, because our identities are shaped also like through positive prime. Now I can see Nadine. Nadine's got, like, you know, a whole heap of other knowledge and ability to weigh in here. And I really want all of us to feel like we can weigh in. So Nadine, what do you want to say to Jordan?
So all of us have all four, so visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and what I call cognitive. We all have those in terms of processing information, and everybody has them. The thing is that some people feel more visual than others because of where the visual is located in their processing style. So if it's located, so in my system, I do a whole system with this. So, but everybody has all four, and everybody uses all four. And visual is an important one for many different reasons. And Kim's been explaining that as well. But a lot of times, for instance, when I'm teaching hypnosis, it's like getting the person to visualize something, and it doesn't matter whether they visualize it clearly or unclearly. It's just the actual willingness and intention to do it that matters. So that's a really important part of it too. So, but everybody has visual. Everybody has. So which doesn't mean that you're not dominantly auditory, by the way. Because if you are dominantly auditory, there are things around that. It's more about how you make decisions and how you learn. But, yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Nadine. The other thing is that sometimes when people hear a piece of music, it reminds them of somewhere they've been, and they see themselves, like you heard this amazing chant and maybe you were in India, and then when you think about or you feel the memory of being in India, you actually can go back to seeing the scenes. Now, they're not going to be accurate. Interestingly enough, we know that our memory plays tricks on us and we don't actually remember all that accurately. That's also been proven. But usually sounds and smells can elicit the memory, and we use that in reminiscence therapy. But the fact is, you'll still think and see a scene in your mind for the memory. Okay, so D. Terrell. Hello, beautiful. I'm so glad you're here. D. Terrell's been in the Positive Prime community for a long time, many, many, many years. Come on out, my dear.
I am so excited about this. And for those of you that don't know who I am, my background is in the body, the brain, and movement, and how it affects your state, your way of being, your emotions. And my background, this is my company, Pitter Patter Feet, and I work with children from infancy up to school age and helping them to learn faster and quicker through movement, music and movement. And one of the things I just wanted to say to Jordan is that these images flash before your brain so fast, you're not even conscious that you're actually thinking in pictures. And that the more information that we take in through our visual, and I was so happy when Kim mentioned the mirror neurons, because that was the thing that really got me hooked on Positive Prime, is because I know that that's how we all learned how to walk as children. We watched other people, and the mirror neurons were working at that time. And I even have, I also teach early childhood educators how to incorporate music and movement into their curriculum so that their students can learn faster. In order to get them to do this, I had to show them this picture of a baby with all of these electrodes on their head, and how they had images to see that when they saw someone reaching for something, that those mirror neurons in their brain started lighting up and they could see it on like a monitor. But I just wanted to just assure you, as Nadine has just said, and also Kim, that all of us have a dominant way in which we take in information that works best for us. And it's not good or bad or anything like that. It's just how we function best. And when we can utilize the ways that we function best, we're going to be able to get the information faster and quicker, which is one of the reasons why I love Positive Prime, is because their use of imagery is not just, I know the Duchenne smiles are a big part of it in the canopy, but the vividness, the richness of the colors and the images in those images that we're looking, we're getting so many different therapies, like not aromatherapy, the one where you're seeing different colors and stuff, chromotherapy, where that's affecting our moods and everything too. So I just want you to be encouraged, and that this is just a really amazing phenomenon that we are involved in. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak, Kim.
Oh, thank you, gorgeous girl. You know what? Nobody does enthusiasm and effervescence better than Dee Terrell. Oh, actually, there's some other people I know, like Gail Ratchford. She does effervescence pretty well too. But I love it. I love it. I think it's so valuable. I do just want to shout out and say thank you. Are you still here, me, Sean? I want you to come out and introduce yourself if possible. Okay. All right. Tell us who you are. And I just want to say thank you for sharing the link. You're just, that kind of stuff in this community, I really appreciate. Contributing, getting us all to dive deeper, go and have an exploration, an investigation, a curiosity about something that we may not have come across. So yeah, kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My internet's a little shaky. So, but hi everyone, happy to be here. Definitely been positive priming for a while. And I think every time I get to cross paths again with Kim and what's new with Positive Prime, I'm always so lit up and inspired. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to do this all the time, every day. So I'm like, okay, let me put this in my calendar, make sure I do my Positive Prime ongoing leaks. I want to have, you know, my story to share. I want to be in that movie. So I'm like, who can I share this with? Okay, so, but my, what I do is I am from Los Angeles. However, I'm currently living in Mexico for a couple months, which has been really magical and incredible. I am in direct sales. So I've been a direct sales leader for the last couple of years in the area of luxury wines, which has been fabulous. It's also given me a chance to really, I guess, develop my leadership and coaching and supporting others. I've also been a program leader in with a program called the Self-Expression Leadership Program many years ago, which gave me the roots and, you know, the seed to go further into training. And so I am a certified coach with Jack Canfield's Success Principles, definitely one of my mentors. Absolutely love all those lessons. So that is part of my work as well. And right now, what I am focused on and what I'm committed to is really help, I hate to tell you, but really being a guide for people discovering and living their purpose. And also, I am very, very clear that anyone and everyone can have a life of having it all, as long as we are defining the all that is right and perfect for us. So given that, yes, thank you. Given that, I love how Positive Prime is so essential part of that, in that so many times, you know, people don't know what to do, or I don't know where to start, or I feel like I'm not sure what I'm here for. And there's like these images that you just get just open up so much, whether it's stuff that we know, stuff that we didn't know, but it has you tap into something. And I know that after every session I do, I feel like so much better, like something clicks. And so why I don't do it more often is a mystery. So I want to be sharing it more. And actually, I'm going to share a Positive Prime in my Magic Gratitude group this coming week, so that the people in my group that are doing the Magic by Rhonda Byrne, which is so funny as well that you mentioned that on this call, hello, that they can tap in as well and get some of this magic through Positive Prime. So thank you all. Thank you for inviting me to share.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, my dear. The gloriousness of you often shows up even in my emails. Like, I love it. And yes, the magic is amazing. Do you know, it's so interesting. And one of the reasons why I've been asking everybody to watch the most recent 2 classes from Rhonda is it served even as a reminder for me. And as I'm watching it and I'm really leaning into it and I'm paying attention, but I'm different. The energy of me is different, right? I'm hearing what I needed to hear. And I'm seeing what I needed to see. And I came to this aha that I hadn't really embodied Rhonda and her approach in the projects that were unfolding over the last couple of years. And it's almost like I know this stuff, but I haven't even been practicing it because I hadn't really remembered, right? So as soon as I saw this one class about a month ago, and when you all watch it and she says, oh, someone said hi to me from Noosa, that's me.
And also, I just want to say, I was watching all of your comments before we went live. So I'm seeing all of you, I'm seeing all of your comments, I'm seeing where you're from. And I saw somebody said good morning from Noosa, or wouldn't be morning. in Noosa. Oh yeah, it would be morning. Noosa, Australia. It is my favourite place in Australia. So hi to Noosa. Hi to the person that was from Noosa.
Right, in case you're all wondering, that is me. So wait till you go now, watch it and see her, you know. It was the moment that there was an energetic connection. And then, like me, it was exactly the way I reached out to Sean Acor, and I happened to reach out to Sean at exactly the same time he was doing his deal with Oprah. And like, quite frankly, that changed everything 10 years ago. So I know that, like, now this time the tide's turned, and it's like third time lucky at me really expanding and growing Positive Prime in a really kind of fascinating way. Anyway, I just want you to know that applying the science to the secret, I think, is actually what I've really been up to over the last 10, 15 years. And I haven't given enough credit, I don't think, even in my own storytelling about how I've developed Positive Prime, to the fact that Rhonda Byrne pursued this idea of helping everybody to feel more joy. And Positive Prime for me was really about helping me and everyone else I know to cope with the tough entrepreneurial journey, the tough creator's journey, because it's wonderful, but it's also tough. And some of the lessons that you learn are they're really difficult to learn. And for people like us, every single one of you included, the world needs us. We can't give up. We can pause for a little while, we can take a rest, but all of us, we need to keep going, and we need each other. And the fascinating thing for me is that Mayumi and I have been creating new Positive Prime sessions for our community, because our community, our subscribers, are expecting new Positive Prime sessions, right? And I thought about, whose wisdom do I actually want to really integrate? Steve Jobs, some of his best wisdom I really want to integrate. Richard Branson, some of his best wisdom I really want to integrate. And Rhonda Burns. And we are literally just about to launch, because Mayumi and I have gathered like the very best of the messages that Rhonda Byrne has been sharing, and we put it into a brand new Positive Prime, messages from Rhonda Byrne. And what I know is that, and this is the interesting bit, when you receive the messages whilst you're positively primed, you're more likely to integrate it and have it live through you. And so you said something really interesting, like, why don't I positively prime every day? Well, maybe you just haven't been reminded to go in there and have a look at some of the new content, because at the moment, the platform, it's not easy to see that we just literally redid Think and Grow Rich. We did a series of Think and Grow Rich sessions. We literally redid Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because I, like you, need to be reminded and refreshed. I need to go and watch more Positive Prime sessions. The super mixes of several Positive Prime sessions mixed together. And then it was a year ago, I said to Mayumi, hey, I need you to do me a favor for my own treatment room, right? I need you to gather 20 of my favorite Positive Prime sessions and gather all my personal photos. And I need you to create basically a private MP4 like video file and upload it onto YouTube. And I want to be able to play in consecutive, on repeat, as a playlist, all of these Positive Primes, but mixed and merged. I want a combination of all of these Positive Primes, along with all of my photos that would appear on my vision board and all of my photos that would appear in my gratitude board, journal. And then just recently I said to her, look, there are a couple of things I really, really, really want to experience. I really, really, really want to experience going to Antarctica and going to the Arctic and so forth. And so we've used some new AI software that does like photoshopping or face swapping. And we've actually created as if photos, as if I'm literally there in Antarctica with and that's where we're going with Positive Prime, because I actually think the most exciting part will be coaches like us or therapists like us, healers and teachers like us with our clients, what is it that you really want? And then having images as if they already have what they really want. They're being who they really want to be, and integrating it in and having these emotional contagion bridges, which we go about in the, right? So that's a service we've just started selling. And it's really interesting because people really want these as if vivid vision videos, and we put them on YouTube. They're not even on a Positive Prime platform. And so the me who 10 years ago only wanted Positive Prime to be inside our little platform, that me goes, no, do you know what? Let's create vision videos that are really vivid for our clients, and let's use AI and have these as if photos. And then I'm happy to share mine with all of you. You can see Mayumi has made sure that I'm in Antarctica and I'm in the Arctic. And actually, I've never really had a holiday in Ireland. And so she's got great photos of me in Ireland. You know, like, and I could go on and on and on. And I can see Lisa Barnett, you're there. You've got the, do you know what? I so desperately want to see the Northern Lights, but I don't know if you know this, here in Australia, we've had a bumper season of the Southern Lights, and the Southern Lights are as extraordinary as the Northern Lights, and it's actually just here at the bottom of Australia, right? So I've got Mayumi to do as if photos of me in Iceland, because obviously I'm going to have to go to Iceland and Norway in order to see the Northern Lights, right? And the way it's been motivating me has been fascinating, because I'm getting up every day and I'm taking more actions because I have to do what is necessary so that I can go to Norway and Iceland and see the Northern Lights, right?
I just came back and we had at least, I think, 5 nights of aurora. So I have tons of photos when it was so fun, and the energy is so powerful. It was phenomenal. And, you know, I love to travel. I travel all over the world, but I was so, just being in Iceland was really, you really do feel like you're in another world, and the energy is so pure. And of course, all of the energetic codes and light that are coming to you with, right, the auroras, we're all getting it on the earth, but in these places, there's an opening that is really profound. So it was amazing, I have to say. So I'll go back with you whenever you want.
I know. Let's do a Positive Prime tour to the Northern Lights together. Hey?
Yes, yes. And you have to go in the winter when the nights are long. So you have to get prepared for the chill. But it wasn't too bad. October, November, early November was well, it was 0. It was kind of around 0 Celsius.
Oh, that's good. That's not -40 if you're an Aussie. -40 is cold.
Not bad. But I also wanted to say, I love what you were just talking about, because I'm really feeling called to help really bring this more fully or completely to my Akashic students, right? You know, I teach 50 or 100 students at a time, and I'm thinking I could do Positive Prime sessions during that, you know, 12 or 14-hour workshop, and, you know, maybe use my Positive Prime video. And anyway, it just kind of started bubbling up as I've been here listening, and just very exciting, because I'm feeling that there are ways to help people access the records with even greater ease, right? So I use, you know, energetic vibrational keys that are pretty simple, but again, it's so important, like I tell my clients and share my link to my Positive Prime with my clients, that we have to hold a higher vibration in order to do all of these things with great ease, to create the life that our heart and soul truly desire. And so I've been really sharing it with clients over these last few years, and I thought, oh, why am I not sharing it with my students, really? And I could do it literally in a class on Zoom, you know, anyway, so I'm very excited about all that. We'll see.
I love that, Lisa. Thank you. 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 And thank you to all of you. So for those of you who are showing up to the next one, just know that you are going to be talking about Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's Broaden and Build theory together. That's your homework, right? So have a quick flick through the entire of the Positive Prime ebook. Yes, there's lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of pages. You don't have to read every single one of them. And then refresh yourself with Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's Broaden and Build theory. It's fundamental. It's key. I so appreciate you being here. And on that note, what I would really love you all to do, for those of you who can, is just connect with the energy that is love. And just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the opportunity to be here together and to learn. Thank you for having the kind of mind or brain that does learn. Just say thank you to your brain. Thank you to your mind. And thank you to your heart for being open to connect with others all around the world. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for helping us to see what we need to see, hear what we need to hear, and know what we need to know. Thank you for bringing us into vibrational alignment with miracles, serendipity, and synchronicity. Thank you for protecting us and keeping us safe. Thank you, 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 thank you. Thank you. See you all very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Thanks, Kim. Love you all.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Ciao.
you.
Bye.
Bye.